Tulsi and Patel, they had a little bit of a heated exchange with the Senate. Also, check it out. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications. Let's rock.
Mr. Patel, early in this hearing, Senator Durbin asked you about the January 6th choir of inmates whose song you promoted, and here's what you said. I did not have anything to do with the recording. I did not have anything to do with the recording. Do you stand by that testimony, Mr. Patel?
Senator, what I said was I didn't do the recording.
You said you didn't have anything to do with the recording, which is interesting because here's what you told Steve Bannon on his podcast. So what we thought would be...
Senators love to find some podcasts, don't they? I didn't know that they listen to podcasts the way that they said they do.
Cool, as if we captured that audio and then, of course, had the greatest president, President Donald J. Trump, recite the Pledge of Allegiance. Then we went to a studio and recorded it, mastered it, digitized it, and put it out as a song now releasing exclusively on the War Room. We. If you had nothing to do with it, Mr. Patel, why did you tell Steve Bannon and all his listeners that you did?
That's why it says we, as you highlighted.
Yeah, and you're part of the we, right? When you say we, that includes you, doesn't it, Mr. Patel?
Not in every instance.
Well, that's new. So when you said we, you didn't really mean you. Is that your testimony?
Not unless you have a new definition for the word we.
Oh, okay. I always thought we included the person who pronounced the word, but maybe not. Well, you also said this, Mr. Patel. We were able to capture the recording thanks to their courageous singing, and we were able to take it to a studio. So let me ask you, Mr. Patel, after saying we took it to a studio, did you take it to a studio?
Me personally, no.
After you said that we digitized and recorded it and all that, did you take it to a studio and digitize and record it?
Me personally, no.
Okay, so you were lying to Steve Bannon and his audience. Is that what you're saying?
No, I was using the proverbial we appropriately, as you've identified.
The royal we. Oh, I see. And so you certainly promoted the hell out of it, though, didn't you?
I don't know what that means, but I promoted the heck out of raising money for families in need.
With promotions on social media and saying you were going to get this to #1 on the billboards, right, Mr. Patel?
I think it did.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. Isn't that great? People who violently attack police have a #1 song thanks to you, Mr. Patel. That's something to be really proud of. Now, you've claimed, Mr. Patel, you didn't know about any of these people in the choir. Is that right?
I did not know about the violent offenders, and I did not participate in any of the violence in and around January 6th.
Tell me, Mr. Patel, what due diligence did you do to find out who was in the choir before you promoted their beautiful music? These people who assaulted law enforcement. What due diligence did you do?
Senator, I didn't record it myself.
So you did no due diligence before you promoted this song by these violent felons. Is that what you're telling us?
Senator, I did not record that myself.
So you're being considered for director of the FBI. And here you did no diligence to find out whether people you were associating with now the President of the United States in song were convicted of attacking police officers. Is that who we want running the FBI? I want you to turn around. There are Capitol Police officers behind you. They're guarding us. Take a look at them right now. Turn around.
I'm looking at you. You're talking to me.
Well, I'm sorry, sir. Who are you talking to? See, that's the situation where you then have to start having a conversation with people and you start to say things a little different and get a little out of hand. That's when you have to start helping them understand. Who you talking to, dog? I hate when people start talking to you like you're a child. And you still have to remain professional. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to turn this into a Thornton Township, Tiffany Henyard scrap off inside of the Senate. However, listen, dog, don't. Who you talking? Turn around. Turn around. Turn around. Listen, dog, I'm about to be the director of the FBI. I'm the last person you want to talk to like that. I'm the last person that you ever want to talk to and have this type of sentiment and demeanor towards. You don't want to do that, dog. Don't talk to me like I'm a child. All right?
No, look at them. I want you to look at them if you can, if you have the courage to look them in the eye. No,
don't change it up now.
And tell them
you was tough at first. You said it the tough way.
turn around. There are Capitol Police officers behind you. They're guarding us. Take a look at them right now. Turn around.
I'm looking at you. You're talking to me.
No, look at them.
I'm not your wife, dog. I'm looking at you. And he handled it beautifully. He said, nah, I'm looking at you.
I want you to look at them if you can, if you have the courage to look them in the eye, Mr. Patel, and tell them you're proud of what you did. Tell them you're proud that you raised money off of people that assaulted their colleagues, that pepper sprayed them, that beat them with poles. Tell them you're proud of what you did, Mr. Patel. They're right there. They're guarding you today. Tell them how proud you are.
That's an abject lie, and you know it. I've never, ever accepted violence against law enforcement. I've worked with these men and women, as you know,
you glorified it in song,
and I did not make a single dime out of it.
In song. Well, let me.
How about you ask them if I have their backs, and let's see about that answer.
Let me ask you this, Mr. Patel. Let me ask you this. If an FBI director promoted a song of people who sprayed pepper spray in the face of an FBI agent, would you say they were fit to be director?
Mr. Schiff?
Yes or no? Would they be fit to be director?
I am fit to be the director of the FBI.
If you were the FBI director and you promoted a song with someone who beat an FBI agent with a pole, would you say you were fit to be FBI director?
Mr. Schiff, I am fit to be FBI director based on my 16 years in government service.
And yet you did all these things, Mr. Patel. You can say, oh, I support law enforcement. I decry violence against law enforcement. You can say all that. It's what you did, Mr. Patel, that matters. It's what you did that matters. Well, let me ask
promoted a song.
Now, before I close, I want to warn the American people who are watching at home. You may hear lies.
That's my girl right there. I think that she be dressing like that on purpose. She know what she be doing. She knew what she be looking like. She be knowing what she look like, bruh. Real talk. You know how some girls, how some women be just knowing that they look good and stuff like that, and they dress it, but they don't really address it. They just kind of play it to low, play it low key. They just chill. They make sure that they got the little storm jean gray thing that come down their head. Tulsi Gabbard is gorgeous. And she do that gray thing on purpose. You know what I'm saying? That ain't just by itself. That's what she doing. She doing that gray. Gonna wear all white like an angel over to the Senate hearing. Okay, Tulsi.
Smears in this hearing that'll challenge my loyalty to and my love for our country. Those who oppose my nomination imply that I am loyal to something or someone other than God, my own conscience, and the Constitution of the United States. And she's smart and intelligent. Accusing me of being Trump's puppet, Putin's puppet, Assad's puppet, a guru's puppet, Modi's puppet, not recognizing the absurdity of simultaneously being the puppet of 5 different puppet masters. The same tactic was used against President Trump and failed. The American people elected President Trump with a decisive victory and mandate for change. The fact is, what truly unsettles my political opponents is I refuse to be their puppet.
Do you believe that background checks for firearm purchases are constitutional?
I don't know the in-depths of it, but I think that's what the Supreme
deserves to rot in jail for the rest of his life.
Oh, let's go back.
Ms. Gabbard, a simple yes or no
I want to focus on
Do you still think
Ms.
Edward
Gabbard.
Snowden is brave?
Given your hesitance, it's not.
And Ms. Gabbard, let me be clear, at least in my views. I salute your service to our country. But I have serious doubts about your judgment. And those are some of the areas that I want to pursue. First, until you are nominated by the president to be the DNI, you consistently
I hate
the
Mr.
actions
Warner
of Edward
also.
Snowden.
I hate Mark Warner also. I hate is a strong word.
I believe
I strongly
jeopardized the
dislike
security
Mark
of our
Warner.
nation, and then, in an effort to flaunt that, fled to Russia. You even called Edward Snowden, and I quote here, a brave whistleblower. Every member of this committee supports the rights of legal whistleblowers.
Hold on, let me see something. What's Poppin' Network says Anton is weird. You weird. Your mama weird. You weird. You weird for subscribing and say that I'm weird. Weirdo. Weirdo. Let's continue.
But Edward Snowden isn't a whistleblower. And in this case,
and y'all must be sassy.
I'm a lot closer to the chairman's words, where he said Snowden is, quote, an egotistical serial liar and traitor who, quote, deserves to rot in jail for the rest of his life. Ms. Gabbard, a simple yes or no question. Do you still think
Eric D. ain't no such thing as a conservative Democrat? This Democratic Party ain't nothing like conservative. Ain't nothing conservative about it.
Edward Snowden is brave?
Mr. Vice Chairman, Edward Snowden broke the law. I do not agree with or support with all of the information and intelligence that he released, nor the way in which he did it. There would have been opportunities for him to come to you on this committee or seek out the IG to release that information. The fact is, he also, even as he broke the law, released information that exposed egregious, illegal, and unconstitutional programs that are happening within our government that led to serious reforms that Congress undertook.
Chairman, we got 5 minutes. So I take your answer, and these are your quotes. Brave, please join my bipartisan legislation calling for charges to be dropped against him. Do you disagree that legislation was not appropriate? Do you believe he is brave or not?
Yeah,
Back those words?
Once again, Senator, Edward Snowden broke the law. He also released information
we agree that Edward Snowden
that exposed the United States government's illegal
your
programs.
Legislation and your words are still your beliefs. Yes or no, please.
I'm making myself very clear. Edward Snowden broke the law. He released information about the United States government's illegal activities.
Ma'am,
If I may just finish my thoughts, Senator. In this role that I've been nominated for,
she's so
confirmed as
poised.
Director of National Intelligence, I will be responsible for protecting our nation's secrets, and I have 4 immediate steps that I would take to prevent another Snowden-like leak.
Ma'am, I would.
Was President Donald Trump wrong to give blanket clemency to the January 6 defendants?
Thank you, Ranking Member. A couple of things on that. One, the power of the presidential pardon is just that, the president.
Well, I concede he has the authority. I'm asking, was he wrong to do it?
And as we discussed in our private meeting, Senator, I have always rejected any violence against law enforcement, and I have, including in that.
Why do they sit there and get up here and act like that they haven't had a private meeting and have a private relationship with these people? And then at the same time, they get up there and question them like they haven't already gotten the answers to their information. And they just posture. And they pretend like they actually better than you. When you already been in cahoots with me and you've had a private conversation with me. I hate these politicians. They aggravate me so much.
That group is specifically addressed any violence against law enforcement on January 6th, and I do not agree with the commutation of any sentence of any individual who committed violence against law enforcement.
So do you think that America is safer because these 1,600 people have been given an opportunity to come out of serving their sentences?
Yes.
And live in our communities again?
Senator, I have not looked at all 1,600 individual cases. I have always advocated for imprisoning those that cause harm to our law enforcement and civilian communities. I also believe America is not safer because President Biden's commutation of a man who murdered 2 FBI agents, Agent Kohler's and Williams' family, deserve better than to have the man that point blank range fired a shotgun into their heads and murdered them released from prison. So it goes both ways.
There is not a great deal in the public record about what you and Syrian dictator Bashar al-Assad discussed for so long in January of 2017. And I think there's a great deal of interest from the American people about what was discussed in that meeting. So what did you talk about? And did you press Assad on things like his use of chemical weapons, systematic torture, and the killing of so many Syrians?
Yes, Senator. I upon returning from this trip, I met with people like then Leader Nancy Pelosi and Steny Hoyer, talked to them and answered their questions about the trip. And quite frankly, I was surprised that There was no one from the intelligence community or the State Department who reached out or showed any interest whatsoever in my takeaways from that trip. I would have been very happy to have a conversation and give them a back brief. I went with former Congressman Dennis Kucinich, who had been there many times before and who had met with Assad before. A number of topics were covered and discussed, and to directly answer your question, yes, I asked him tough questions about his own regime's actions, the use of chemical weapons and the brutal tactics that were being used against his own people.
Were you able to extract any concessions from President Assad?
No, and I didn't expect to, but I felt these issues were important to address.
According to your revised trip report, your third
questions. Okay. I take it
I like
from
Tulsi Gabbard. I think Kash is going to be great, and I think that Trump continues to make very, very smart picks when it comes to the nominees that he recommended that has to now stand before Senate.